more than an hour away, you can do yours by phone, and you'll do a submit for review of your portfolio to the person I send it. Like, we'll give you this grid and say, here's who you send it to, and you set up that time, what works for you and your person who's reviewing it. If you're within an hour, we do ask you to come to campus. I think it's probably maybe a little more valuable for you to be able to sit down one-on-one. You do get a one-on-one FaceTime, you know, going through it for about half an hour with that person. There's a whole section in D2L, all the things we did back in the professional development class are there about what you need to have in your portfolio. Remember, you should have student teaching items, preferably in every standard, but at least in the majority of standards. So be saving lessons you did, pictures, activities, things like that. Be using those in your portfolio. Our template was updated to match the new requirements. For the getting licensed, and I'm going to spend more time on this tomorrow. We'll spend a whole half hour at least on licensing. But you need to have taken all of your MTLE tests, the pedagogies and contents, to get that limited license. Limited is for anybody who has not passed one or more tests. It could be a basic skills test, it could be a pedagogy, it could be a content. But you have to have taken all of them once to get the limited, okay? A lot of you will probably sub during the spring semester. You can apply for a sub-license once your degree is posted. You will qualify for a 2-year short-term sub-license. What that means is you can sub for 14 consecutive days in the same classroom. On Friday of the 3rd week, what a lot of districts do is trade you with a different sub. But you have to be either not in that classroom, or you can't do a long-term. You can't do more than 14 days for one teacher in one class, okay? But the districts are crying for subs. You do need to have, when you go in for that, you need to have a district sign off. A lot of times your student teaching district is more than happy to take you as a sub, and they're like happy to sign off on that so you can get your sub license, okay? But you do have to have your degree posted to get that, to even do the sub license. That limited license, the 1 year, goes from July 1st to June 30th. So if you get your limited license in January, it's only good till June 30th. Then you would reapply for a new one. You know, take that time, keep working on tests. We're hoping some good things will happen in the coming year related to those tests. Just was on a meeting a day and a half ago discussing this statewide. We're trying to pull together several groups talking about those MTLEs. Ed Minnesota had people there. MREA, Minnesota Rural Ed, had people there. MACD, our Colleges of Teacher Ed, had people in this business, people from the task force on MTLE. We had some really good voices. Very good discussion. Couple main things that came out of that. Right now, one option they have in place now, just announced this last Friday, if you have an ACT composite score of 22, you can substitute that for one of the basic skills. You know, any of the basic skills. You got 22, pass the basic skills. Now, to me, I'm not sure. I think that's a really good option, because
that's what I
if you don't test well in the first place, then replacing one time test multiple choice with another time, it's not a real good choice. But there could be a person out there that's going to help. Other options for that. They also have a new RFP out, and I don't know if you know what an RFP is. It's a request for proposals, and the vendor for the MTLE basic skills is up for grabs starting fall 15. So they're going to have a new MTLE test starting fall 15. We are thinking, hopefully reasonably so, that anybody putting in a proposal for this thing has to know about all the chaos and the trouble it's been in the papers and all the task force and all, and would address those issues. That's what we're pushing for, obviously.
Hold your breath.
Yeah, I know. But that is what we're really pushing for as MACT, is our whole state Colleges of Teacher Ed. It's the MNSCU, the U of M's, and the privates. It's all of us together putting our voice in that. I would strongly encourage you, we're going to be asking students, I'm sure, again, to testify again this next year when the legislature starts up in January. A big piece of why no action was taken last year is because this is an election year here in November. You all can vote. I would say you spend some time write some emails to your legislators for where your voting district is. Let them know what you think of this thing and that you want to see some action, and use your vote to vote accordingly. We've had some people who've really been good friends on MTLE and some that have really been the pits. But then again, if we can have, a lot of people weren't willing to commit to making a change till after the election. They were afraid it might impact, you know, their results. So we're hoping come January, the election's done, new people are in, they'd be more willing to take some of the things that they were suggesting. There were some good suggestions that came out of it, and they just weren't willing to move very far. So we're hoping. Stay tuned. In the meantime, I'd say, you know, get through student teaching, get your content and pedagogy. Then if you want to keep attacking those things, the basic skills, give it your best try, but we're hoping we can get something better to happen as we work forward on that. So, okay. Anything else up there? Yeah, stay tuned for the stuff on there. That limited license, the one-year license, you can actually submit yourself. You don't need the placement office, which is really strange. What you do need to do is order 2 official transcripts, which are through the SMSU registration office's webpage. And you don't need, it says you need a district sign-off form, but you actually don't right now. So if you are done and you want to submit that, you can. If you want us to help you with it, we'll do it too. So either way is fine. When you send in your licensure stuff, I'm doing licensure right now because we're getting Amy trained in. Probably my biggest point of pain is people forget to print off the pages from the, you go in and you create a location in the Board of Teaching website, and that's the one that shows me you've paid, that shows me you filled out your forms and all that. They'll send me the SMSU form and their fingerprint card and their check, and I don't have the part that says you paid. I gotta have those forms. So that stuff you fill out, make sure you print that and send that. You'll order your fingerprint card through them. You go get fingerprinted at any local police station. They'll do it for you, but you need their card. It's already pre-printed with your information and stuff. You send all that into our office. We got one today. We had it turned around in an hour. I mean, we'll get them through fast for you as long as we've got everything. When I don't have everything, I have to be tracking you down saying, you're missing this part and you need to go get that. And so we also need to have your MTLE scores. So say you hadn't taken your pedagogy and content, you took them on December 1st, and you're done student teaching on the 5th, and your stuff is, you want to be ready to go. I have to have your official scores back. We can't submit a license app without those. So it's going to be that 3 to 4 weeks before they come back. So in the meantime, get your app filled out, get your printed done, whatever. But if you send it in and we don't have your official scores, please put a post-it note saying that, because otherwise we're going to be looking all over for them and going, why can't we find free scores? Yeah. So let us know, hey, my scores will be coming on such and such a date, and then we can make sure it happens. So.
Do you, as far as those payment things, a lot of times when you make payments, they send it to an email. Do you know if this gets sent to an email? I'm just thinking my printer or my computer isn't set up with a printer right now.
Yep.
So, if I was on my computer, I couldn't just print, right?
You're going to want to make sure you're on a computer that can print for this. What happens is when you fill it in, it fills in a little checkbox right on the form. I think they probably do send you the email, but what I need is the form that you're filling out. Okay. So make sure you're on, like at school or some library where you can't print. So.
Okay. Do they automatically send the scores to you?
They're supposed to. Yeah, when you're registering for the MTLEs, please make sure you check SMSU. We did run into a few months in there where, for whatever reason, they weren't coming to us. We'd get some, but not all, and you never knew who you weren't getting. But if that happens, if we haven't got them, what I maybe do is say, hey, I don't have your subtest 2. And if you got the official score report, that PDF that they send you, and you forward it to me, we can check that off with Pearson in like 15 minutes, and then that's all I need. So I need the official score report, either from them or from you, either way. So some people just print it and send it in with the whole works, so I know I've got it either way. It's not a bad plan. A little extra paper, but then you know we've got it. So, okay. Anything else? We're pretty close. We started late, but we finished late, so we're still at about the right time frame. Have a good evening. We will see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, IL 208, right outside the, yes, we do have some breakfast there.
We get a hot breakfast at the
Right
hotel.
outside the ed department. So that
We get a hot breakfast at the hotel. We're gonna get